Hello, guys. Good evening. My name is Michelle Zachary with Relock Podcast. Today, I have my co-host Erin Brown. Our other co-host Erica Sloan. She is not here today, but she's out sick, and so you guys wish her good will. She should be back next week. Um, Today, we will be talking about sex and dating and sex. And what do you guys think about premarital sex? Um, so, you guys, I want you to share. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube, Relock Podcast on YouTube. And so, how are you doing today, Erin?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing well today. So today our topic is about sex and dating and sex, whichever way you want to switch it. So what is let's talk about it. What is your thoughts on dating and sex or sex while dating?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me. Uh, your co-host. This is
Co-host.
exciting. I always wanted to do this. Well, let's get it. Sex and dating and sex. Uh, this can be complicated, difficult situation,
Definitely.
issue to talk about. But how do I feel about sex and dating? I think it's up to the individual that you're involved with. Um, how important is sex?
Mhm.
Um, and I think for men are physical first, emotional second. Women are emotional first,
Mhm.
physical second. So I think if you want, as a man, if you want to get to the woman, you have to appeal to them emotionally. You have to be able to stroke that side to let them get their guard down, and eventually you can move into having sex if that's what you want. Um, but I think it's up to the individuals how important it is. I know me and you were talking about marital sex, and it depends on your religious background, because there are people out there that don't have sex until they're married.
Mhm.
And there's other people out there, it's like, well, I want to know what I'm getting into before I get married. And I just really believe it's up to those individuals' personal preference. Um, but I will say, when it comes to sex and dating, sex changes things. Sex
Mhm.
will complicate the dating situation that you have, especially if you have sex too early in the relationship or in the dating um, part. And I think that we do live in an age of Netflix and chill.
Right, right.
So when it comes to dating, I've witnessed, I've been a part of, participated in, and the new dating. And and this is how it starts. You meet somebody, you exchange phone numbers, you may start texting, and the texting leads to calling, and then the calling will be ended up, hey, you want to go out? Let's meet, have a drink, and then
Uh-huh.
that drink goes to let's go to dinner, and maybe a movie, and then the next thing you know, hey, you want to come over and watch a movie?
Right.
And when you are caught alone with someone, and you can put yourself in a situation where sex is introduced to your dating. Um,
Right.
so what about you? What do you think?
Okay, so what I will say, I'll talk about premarital sex. So we know that audience, premarital sex is a sexual activity by people before they are married. And we know that study shows that by the age of 20, at least 75% of people have already had premarital sex. What I believe about premarital sex is that I think that it complicates things if both people are not on the same page. I think because, like you said earlier, women are emotional. When they decide to give themselves to someone, they look at it as a relationship. As to a man, because he's not as emotional, when he have said he's not having it with attachments, he's having it almost to me like just something to do. I mean, it's something that he wants, he likes it, and he's going in it with a different vision. The woman is going in with the vision, if I do this, there's going to lead to something. And then when it doesn't lead to something, then that's where it starts to complicate the situation, because then the woman doesn't leave because she likes it or she enjoys it or whatever. And the man probably is not even he's going to keep taking it because she's giving, but they're necessarily not going in the same direction. And I think that before someone gets into sex like that, they should maybe have courtship, or kind of find out where they going with this. You know what I mean? If you're a woman that can do that, then go ahead and do it if that's what you do. But if you're going to go into it without knowing what is the end result of this going to be, then you're probably going to be heartbroken at some point. You know what I mean? Because he's probably not thinking the same thing you're thinking. So I think that people should not do it. And I have done it. I have had premarital sex before. So it has been nothing but terrible for me. You know what I mean? When I was out there in the game, it wasn't a good thing, because you do go into it thinking that, and the men are clearly not thinking that. And so I think it just complicates things. And then by the time you get to the middle of the relationship, which is where it should just be starting, you're already so deep in it. And so many things have happened, because now he's not acting the way he was acting at first. At first, he was calling you all the time before you did have sex with him. And he's taking you places, and he's interested, and he's showing attention, and he's being thoughtful. And then once he get it, it shifts a little bit. And now the shift happening, you're trying to figure out, okay, what happened? We was all good at first. He was calling, we was doing this, he was thoughtful, and now he's not that way. And because you didn't get clear, y'all didn't really talk. It wasn't clear what y'all were doing. Are we just hanging out? And then you can say, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that. We're just gonna hang out without that being involved. So I think premarital sex can complicate a lot of things if you don't know where you're going. And I think women should, really kind of take heed to that and try to learn to stay within boundaries, you know what I mean, of themselves, so that they won't get in that heat of the moment at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. Now, let's just not put it all on the men.
Yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
There's
Okay.
women out there, and to the men's fault, I think, to some
Uh-huh.
degree, that there's women now in this dating scene that act just like men now.
Okay.
And so, they'll probably figure out, oh, I don't think this is going anywhere, or and they act just like men, and they do the things that men do. Also,
So elaborate on that a little bit. Tell the audience, what do you mean when you say women are starting to do the things that men do? Because now you're
because
basically saying that roles are reversing. Like,
the roles are reversed, because they've probably experienced several situations like you just described.
okay,
And if they see anything, oh, well, this is not going nowhere, look, this is the biggest misconception about sex and dating. Women want sex just as much as men do. They just don't put it out there like that. And
okay,
then some women are more sexually active than others. And
mhm,
some of them that's all they want, but they're not just going to say it. I really think when it comes to dating, I think you should be upfront and honest what you want from the beginning. And if that's what it is that you want, then I don't think people express their opinion or their thought about exactly what they want, because they're scared that individual won't deal with it. You know,
mhm.
um, I think if you just tell a person straight up, look, I'm not really trying to be too serious. I'm just looking for, a sex thing. And you'll be surprised how many women, or you'll be surprised how many men would be cool with that. And it's all about communication and getting it out there in the forefront. But if you don't want to get caught up in the premarital sex and you're really dating somebody and you really want to get to know. Now, I'm going to tell you my personal experience. I've dated a woman for 2 years and we didn't have sex.
Okay.
And I know it's kind of hard to believe. And some people are like, really? I was like, yeah. Honestly, she was deep in church. We were going to church and she just didn't believe in premarital sex. And so I liked her and I respected her. So we just didn't have sex. Now
you didn't try to pressure her into it.
I didn't try to, but you do have your moments where you're messing around and get a little too heated, but then you just gotta back up and stop. You have to have some sort of we need to just stop. It's possible, but it depends on how deep your belief is, how important it is. But then the other side, there's other people is like, hey, I want to find out what this ride is like before I sign up for this.
So you basically saying like some women or men want to test the waters before.
Yeah.
Why do you think testing the waters is so important? Because, like, to me, maybe when I was younger, I think that was important to me. Now I have learned, and me doing that, having premarital sex, going through all these different relationships and marriages, I have learned that, to me, sex is not the number one thing on my list.
It's not the number one thing.
It's important, but it's not to where I need to do it before to see if I'm going to go this direction. To me, what I found out was more important was, how thoughtful is this person of me? How does he love me? How do he treat my kids? When I'm down, how do he take care of me? How do he show me that? Because what if you get sick and you go down and you're not functionable in that area? Then do the love go away, or do the person not want you no more? So I decided to focus more on the things that I felt brought me more fulfillment than sex, because I've had sex. Like, I mean, when you like somebody, it's good. When you don't like them no more, people went back and had sex with people, that they dealt with, be like, that was terrible, because you don't have those feelings for them no more, right? So It's not like it was when you was all into them. They was the best thing smoking. And then when you went back and dipped in the pond again, you're like, he is terrible. I don't even know why I like him like that. So for me, I think that my focus was on other things and not sex, because I feel like sex is overrated. I think it's just overrated. It's just too much. You know what I'm saying? It's all everybody is worried about. Like sex. Okay. What happens when they can't? Then what other substance do the person bring to the relationship?
Right. So to answer, to go back to the question that you asked, you said that why is sex important before you get married? I think some people want to know, the women have this thing, and I've heard several women talk about it. The size. They want to know how big that is they're dealing with. And then some men want to know, is there chemistry? Is it, I ain't gonna lie, there's some women out there that's been ran through, and you go in there and I'm gonna just be real. I'm not gonna go there. But anyway,
but we get what you're saying.
But when you have sex with somebody, you can really, let's just talk about the maintenance of how someone take care of their body.
Yeah.
It's just, I know this is a G-rated show, so I'm not going to really go there, but it's a lot that people want to know when it comes to having sex. So we'll talk about that a little bit later offline. But I really, I tell all my female friends, and I tell my sister and my cousins, like, if you really want to get to know a man and you really want to know if that man really likes you, try not to have sex with him, because sex does change things. And then you end up having emotions and feelings for someone who really doesn't like you, because I really feel like you didn't take the time to get to know that person. And so now you have these feelings and emotions for someone who's not really into you. I really think, you know, women have the power to make a man date you. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely
I
agree
really
with
feel
that.
like you know, make a man date you, make him responsible for that. You know, if that's what you really want to do, and if you're just looking for a sex thing, then it's fine. But uh, I just believe that, you know, and then don't put yourself in a situation where you're alone with a woman or men. Because I'm telling you, I've been with some women that are just as aggressive as men can be,
Yeah.
and you know, some of them just want it, and you just end up being in a situation, and then, you know, uh, how do you feel about sex and dating? Like, okay, say like you do have sex with an individual, do you want them to stay or do you want them to go home? You know.
Man, I think that depends on I think it depends on the relationship you built over time. You
Hmm.
know, some people pack they spend a night bag, and then some people don't. They go, they hook up, and they leave. Um, and I think as you grow, as you get older, you kind of start understanding that it's so many other components to something long term if that's what you're looking for. And so then the sex and dating don't go together with that, right?
Right.
But if you're somebody that's out in the game, you're really not looking for a long-term commitment, the sex and dating, you have to me as a woman, you should know how to keep your emotions in check. You should know that this may not go anywhere,
Right.
and you need to be fine with that.
And yeah, I
And
think
then
they ought to know too is like some men with that to piggyback on what you said, if that man feels like you're not gonna give him none, and he gonna be out. You know what I'm
but
saying? I
then
don't know if some women feel pressured into doing that, and I don't know if some men feel pressured in having sex. You know, it works both ways, but
I think that a lot of that starts on conversations,
mhm,
texting, phone. You know, and I've even heard women say, "I already knew I wanted to sleep with her when I saw him." But why?
mhm.
Like,
That's
is it
because
that on
no,
your
because
mind?
the roles are being reversed. Like I said, is some of these women are physical first, emotional second. And it depends on what type of life or experience that you've had with different
Right.
men, and so it's reversed. I'm
You know what I
reading
think?
what Erica said.
I think that I believe that women think that sex is the gateway to get a man. I think that women believe that if they have sex with a man, that he is going to like, because all women think they are cold piece in bed. If
Mm,
you got with a woman and you asked her about what she could do in bed, she'll probably like run it down,
mhm,
right? Because she feels that way. Somebody have either told her that,
mhm,
or somebody have or she just feels that way. And I think that women think that that is the gateway to get a relationship. And if they don't give it, then they won't get the relationship. So they
right.
feel like I'll give him sex, I'll lock it down. But I've never seen where a woman had sex with a man and locked it down. Not even in the history of my 30 some years of having sex. Like, I've never seen a man might say, oh, she was good, but then it's always somebody that's gonna do something extra that you're not gonna do. So it's always gonna be somebody that is, you may be a Honda Accord, but then somebody might have them in Infinity. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's gonna always be somebody's gonna upgrade a little
Well,
bit
wait
or
a
do
minute. Wait a
more than
minute.
what
Wait a
you do.
minute. I drive a Honda, and and another thing, Hondas run
Now,
for
Honda,
life as
what
long
you
as you
want, an
change
EX
that.
or a sedan? Which one?
I got a Honda Sport. This is it.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, it's levels to that game. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is, you know, I think for me and what I've seen and all the complaining that I see women do and all the crying and all this, I think that women just need to learn to keep their little twinkle little feelings in check. That when they meet a man, Just go get to know him. Go on a date with him. Invite your friends. Don't be going over to his house. He don't get to come over to your house. And y'all date like that. And to me, you will get to know somebody better, because nobody is going to show you their true colors right off the bat,
No,
right?
because when you first meet a person, you meet a
It's all
representative.
sweet, and I'm not gonna say the people ain't sweet even after they that may just be their character. But when you're dating somebody, then if you're hanging out with them and talking to them versus involving the sex, you will know people's intentions, and then you can know not to get into that area. You'll be like, oh no, I ain't really ready for that. They may have some issues that they dealing with. You may not want to take on those issues. But if you already jumped in the bed before you know all these things, now she calling you, you feel bad because you ain't answering the phone, or you know what I'm saying? Like it would just stop a lot of the dislike that happens, and a lot of the friendships that are broken, that could be friendships, if people didn't do sex before marriage. And we know that that's probably not going to happen with a lot of people. But I think if people just tried it, they wouldn't lose a lot of friendships. They would just find out that this person is not for me. These are the things that I'm looking for and that I want in a relationship, and this is my time frame. The man may not have that time frame. He may just got out of something. You gotta know these people first. You know what I'm saying?
You do. You have to know these people first.
You have to know how are they when they are sad? How do they pay bills? How do they take care of business? How do they discipline their children? Y'all may do all that different, and y'all may not be able to come together as a unit. But if you already slept with them, now you have some type of tie to them that now your body is going to crave them and want them. The more shit that goes wrong, the more it seems like the women want them. The more it goes wrong, the more the women want them, is what I see. And so I think that if women backed off a little bit and then get so into that headspace with the sex, then they will be able to ration out and don't have so many bodies under their belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got enough bodies. We don't need no more. And you need to grow into that and get that sex, like, just out of your space a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I just also, I'm gonna give some women some game. And y'all already know this, but if you just meet a guy, and our goal is, when we start talking to y'all, is especially if I'm a sexual type of individual, I'm gonna find some way, somehow, to introduce some sort of sexual talk into the conversation. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh yeah, you this and that, and men do that just to see how far, or to test you, to see if they're wasting their time. Oh, because some men just want to have sex, and they'll play that.
But my thing to that is, see, then to me, it's a man's responsibility to not do that if he know he does not want something. Because you got to remember, you are going to hurt the woman if you take it there and you know your intentions.
But not all women are like that. Like I said, there's a lot of women out there, like the roles are reversed. They want sex just as much as men do, and they know what these men are doing and saying, and they already know where it's going. You know what I'm saying? So
you saying, when y'all say all them little cute things like, oh, you sure look good in that dress last night. I saw you over at Midtown, or I saw you at the Domain. You was looking. So you think women want to hear that, and you think that's
that's not what I want.
That's
not
what
I'm saying. I'm saying men say those things to see how far they get with you, and so they're trying to set it up to see. Okay, so if I get her alone, yeah, I know it's gonna be on and popping, because she's responding.
Already showing
she's
signs.
Engaging in that type of communication with me. So, but it will complicate.
It will.
Especially if you are dealing with a woman And like you were saying, and I really try to look and see how, if I'm dealing with a woman, how she interacts with her friends, how she interacts with her family. You
Mhm.
know, if I'm out and about with her, how many dudes are coming up to her, and those are the things I look for. I'm a very analytical person. I watch, even though people might not think I'm looking, but I'm looking.
So why does that matter how many people come up to her? What if she went to school here and she just know a lot of people like me? I know a lot of
Are
people.
we are we talking about other sex? Because here in Austin, the black community is small,
Yeah,
and it seemed like everybody done messed around with everybody. I know I might be making a whole blanket statement. I don't want to make a blanket statement because there's probably
right,
people out there saying I ain't messing with it, but somebody that knows
that-
somebody that don't mess with that
right.
person.
Uh-huh.
And you know what I'm saying? And so if you know that individual and you know how they are, that's your homeboy or your homegirl, you'd be like, well, wait a minute. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you do your little investigation and see, her, how you know what I'm saying? And like I have some friends be like, yeah, man, I used to talk to her. And and some of these women be, they be creeping and you don't know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I
Just
mean,
and
I
you
agree.
know the thing about it is you can't be out here just sexing any and everybody. It's just too
Right.
much stuff out there. We got COVID. You got sexually transmitted diseases, and just because you wear a condom don't mean you can't get no STD.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I just think if you go there, you need to be responsible. You need to be responsible, uh, just all the way around, and just let people know what your intentions are.
Right. Right.
I just think it's just nowadays we don't really take time to get to know a person. I
Right.
just, I just because
So how soon is too soon to have sex?
I think it's up to the individual. Some people can have a one night stand and just fall in love, and then and next thing you know, get married. Or
I mean, we've seen
some
that happen before.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. It depends on the individuals. I'm not trying to put a timeline on anybody and their sexual activity. But if you really want to get to know a person and your goal is not to just have sex, then I think that should be discussed at the beginning and be like, look, you know, I've been through this and that, and I really want to try something different.
Right.
If you're not down with that, then maybe I'm not the individual you want to date right now.
That's right. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree
Because
with that.
you put the ball in their court. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But then there's individuals that will play that game just to see if they can get the ass after, 3 months, 6 months. You never know. They might come off of it. You might come off of it. You know, me personally, it varies. I'm a sexual person. So but I respect the woman. And, if we date and go on a few dates or something like that, it just, it's up to the individual.
Right.
What they think is you know an adequate period of time for you.
Right.
But I just would employ people to get to know the individual. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go there, because if I
Yeah.
go to your house and your house is nasty, then it makes me question your maintenance. If you know what
Hmm.
I'm talking.
Yeah.
See, and if you don't get to know the person,
Yeah.
you you don't know what
I believe that. I believe that. You know, I think that dating and sex, I think it has complicated so many things. And it's the reason why people go through so many relationships is because no one gets to know the person. And then after they have what they're trying to do, after they have dated them for such a short period of time and the sex gets involved, then they spend the remainder of the relationship trying to get the person to be who they want them to be. And it never
yeah,
works out.
it never works
They
out.
spend the whole entire relationship negotiating, trying to compromise, trying to get them to understand what type of person they are. When they could have talked about all that and sat back and be like, you know what? He good looking, he's nice, but that's not really what I want. He have like 6 out of 10 things, and that 6 is not good enough because he got 4 that's still is important to me on my 10 list, and I'm gonna go on and pass on that and keep it moving. And I think that a lot of women feel like they time is ticking. I think a lot of women have gotten so pressured by social media. Us married people, we don't know what our matching pajamas on Christmas, and we taking photos, and not that the things that we're putting on there are fake. A lot of us are really living those lives, but I think that also pressures women into pushing forward with the sex, like I said, thinking that's going to be the gateway to get them a ring or to get what they want from these men. And I tell my friends all the time, when we're talking about relationships and dating and all that stuff, I tell them, men are very concrete on what they want. Women, we will waver. We will go in saying, we will tell our friends, I'm not doing this, and that. This is the kind of man I want. This is what I'm looking for. And we will meet a man that we like and have sex with him. And everything that we ever said that we complained about, it will go out the window. But that man will stay right on his path. He would not waver. If he ain't ready to get married, he ain't getting married. If he ain't ready to move, he ain't moving. If he ain't he's not going to do it. And I tell women all the time, you got to stay concrete as well. When you have a list of things, especially at our age, because we done already been through the kid phase. We ain't kidding it no more. Like we almost to the age, we only got some more years to be living, okay? 80, 90, we already close to our 50s, right? So it's like, stand on what you want. And if you don't meet that person right now, it is okay. It's not okay to go have sex thinking that you're going to sex him up, you're going to do these things, you're going to rodeo him and all this, and you're going to do all that rodeoing, and somebody going to come rodeoing better, and then you still ain't going to get what you want. No. And all you're going to do is be trying thing after thing after thing, and you're going to look up 6, 7, 8, 9 years then pass. You ain't got no ring. You ain't got nothing that you know that you deserve. And then what are you doing? So I don't think that sex before marriage is good. After all of my bad experiences with it, I think that women need to learn to back up a little bit and understand that that is sacred. When you give that away to somebody, that should be your long term after that. Just laying up with people that you're going to be together 3, 4, 5 years, then boom, now you got another man in your bed. I think that, and even for young girls, they need to be taught this. That has to go away. That has to be kind of pushed out a little bit. And so that women can understand who they are and what they deserve and not be so broken. Because a lot of times what I see with this sex and dating too is that they get done wrong by one man. The man, he gives them these, and I won't even say men give women broken promises. I think women give themselves broken promises. They hear something that they really didn't hear him say. He really didn't say that, but in their head, he gonna do it eventually. And he never does it, right? So they have concocted up something in their mind that he didn't even say. He's showing them, but they are overlooking the show and they listening to the words. And the words is just to string you along, right? So he can continue getting what he wants until he get what he actually really wants, right? So I think that if women backed off of that and dated, and because you got to dig into his life a little bit too. What he got going on? What are he doing? And the same for men. I'm not only saying women should do that. Men should too. What type of person is she? What are her morals and values? How did she grow? What type of family she come from? Because I need to know who I'm going to be dealing with. You know what I mean? And it is going to wing out a lot of people. But I don't think people should be afraid to wing out, because I believe that God knows our heart. And I know, and we, in the word it says he knows the beginning and end. So he knows that if it's for you, it's going to eventually happen. But how does it happen if you got all these temporary positions in a way of getting you something permanent? You keep filling all this position with a temporary person. How do you get a permanent person if you spending 4, 5 years of your life with a temp? You know what I mean? So I
Right.
think sex complicates the dating process. I think that people should, I mean, people gonna do what they want to do, but I think that people should back off of it a little bit and give themselves time to really get to know the person. Go out with them, go hang out with them. It's okay to bring them to functions and stuff. Introduce, this is my friend, and women shouldn't get offended. And when you get introduced, this is my friend too. And being that stage is, it's okay, I believe. But I think society has made it not okay. Like, girl, he introduced you as his friend. Yeah, I'm his friend. I'm
Mhm.
okay. I'm not his woman. I don't need to buy you none for Christmas. You don't need to buy me none for Christmas. You don't need to buy me none for Valentine's Day. I don't need to buy you none. All them gifts and exchanges and all that stuff that you should be doing later on. Because then it almost become like you need to do this for me, or you supposed to do. And I think that it just complicates and it longens the process for you finding somebody that is going to be permanent, is somebody that you really could be with, or either meeting somebody that God really has for you. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
think it just complicates things. And I think that uh, we both know, you and I both know that to stay out of those situations, I mean, I could tell the audience that, don't go nowhere with nobody with you showing up. We've all had uh, premarital sex before, and we already know what makes us feel a certain type of way, holding hands, snuggling. So if you know that you have had sex before and you don't know how to control your temptation, that you shouldn't go to nobody's house. You shouldn't um, be alone with somebody. You should take friends, or things like that's gonna keep you out of those mushy situations. You know what I'm saying?
So Carrie said, "But what is if you wait and do all that and then you don't like the sex?" Well, I
Oh,
think
Aaron, you can answer
I
that.
think I think honestly, if you get to know the person
That's what I was just gonna say. Go say
and
what you gonna say, because that's what I was about to say.
yeah, if you get to know the person and you fall in love with the person,
Yes,
then I mean,
absolutely.
there's gonna not everything, and when you're in a relationship, not everything is gonna be perfect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If there's something about the sex that you don't like or you feel there, I think that we as black folks, we need to communicate. And if he ain't doing something right, if she ain't doing something right, then say, hey, look, can you do this? This will help me, our experience
Mhm.
together be a little bit better, a little bit different.
Right.
I don't really like that. I don't really like how you do that. I don't like the wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Can you slow down? Let's have
Yes.
play for a little bit more engaged in the actual act. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
and you just got to be, communicate with that. Well, to go back to some of the stuff that you were saying, um, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of seemed like what you were saying is like, and I know you probably didn't mean it like that. Maybe I'm just thinking that you said it, but it kind of sounded like it's like the man's fault. You know what I'm saying?
No, and I will clear that up. No, I'm just saying that both parties need to take responsibility. If
Okay.
you're a man and you know that your intent, like, just say you're not ready to settle down right now, and you
Mhm.
meet a woman and you like her, she's nice, she likes you, you nice. I think that straight up, first conversation, I'm really not looking for anything. If you are looking for something, then I don't want to hold you up.
Mhm.
And then you give that person to say yay or nay. So it won't be a hard feeling when they don't get what they want, because that's what happens with women.
Okay.
Women go in with the intent that I like him, he like me, he's showing me some attention. This is going somewhere. And you may not be thinking that. And I think the same thing with women. If women meet a man and they really don't like him, they shouldn't move forward either. I
That's
like
true.
you. You got a few little things that is really not something that, but people, like you said, people are scared like you said earlier, people are scared to say, to communicate. We're going to
Right.
use the word. People are scared to communicate. Like you were just saying about what Carrie said. People are scared to communicate because they feel like the person is not going to want to talk to them no more. Or, and like as Carrie was saying, they're going to be like, make the person feel some type of way, when it's really, you should just take what they saying because it's for the better of the relationship.
Right.
Or it's to move it forward. It's not to put you down or say you this or say you that, because all of us have had somebody that was way better than the next person that we've dated. Or, you know what I'm saying? Somebody is always going to be better. Like I said, I mean, you know, the Honda and the Infinity, or the Cadillac and the Bentley. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be something better. Somebody is always going to be better, but you have to find what you love in a person. Mm-hmm. And to me, like I said, I think sex is overrated. My husband, his hard work, the way he handled business, the thoughtfulness of him turned me on. We don't even have to have sex for me to be turned on by him. I'm like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I found something else in him that I enjoy versus that part of him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That part is great, but it's something greater that I love about him. So if he fell sick today and could not do that, I'm still going to love him the same that I love him today when he can do that. You know what I'm saying? So I dug deeper into his soul and what type of person he is, because I plan on growing old with him. What if he become an old man and I got to be pushing him around somewhere and he can't perform? Am I going to go look for a younger man? Or I'm not going to love him the same and make him feel inadequate about himself and his performance? No. So I got myself out of that mind frame to be worried about that. I just don't feel like that's all.
Yeah, and see, that's what you just described as level of maturity, you know, and it comes, right. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. It comes you through life experience, and when you find that one person for you, you do everything you can for them, and all the other stuff just becomes obsolete. And another thing about sex and dating is just like when you get on Instagram and Facebook and you see these women half dressed, and showing everything, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I look.
Okay.
I mean, we can go on Instagram right now and be like, good Lord, you know. Yeah. And some people that's what they're looking for. And if you know, it's hard for some people to be, if they're not getting the sex that they want and they go on Instagram or Facebook and seeing these women half dressed and twerking and doing all this, you know, there's a perception that forms in your mind. You know, my perception may not be your reality, but just because I saw you twerking and half dressed, I'm a holler because, you know, you got something I might want. And
but see, to me, then that comes with you as an individual learning how to, but you single though, so you can do
what I'm
that.
saying is that's when it comes to sex and dating, and I'm starting to date you, and I'm seeing what I've seen, and sex may become more important to me or to that other individual than getting to know you. You know,
to me, I'm like, that's entertainment. That's what they doing to get some stars and to get them little roses so they can get some dollars. You know how they do on TikTok. You get them little stars. You know, if you get so many followers, people can pay you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I understand why them women do that. I look at that's their job to me. I look at that as entertainment. Like, okay, that's part of what they do.
But that type of stuff complicates dating, and it complicates, you know.
It does, but you got to get and you only, I guess, have to get your mind right if you want to move forward with somebody. If you're not looking to move forward, then you do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because you are just dating. You're not, you know what I'm saying, in that area. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I totally get that, like that part of the dating. We lost
what exactly dating is going to look like for you guys. I think if you start at the, you know, from the end result and work your way back and try to figure out what dating looks like for I think that's And I think we need to teach our young people that. I think we need to teach our young men and young women uh, about the facts of dating, about just like the facts of sex and sex education. I think you need to teach these young men and these young women how to date, how to be responsible. Because when you watching shows on TV like P Valley and BMF and all this stuff that has this sexual stuff and these relationships, be it heterosexual or gay or whatever your preference is, you know, they're looking at these shows and they're seeing, you know, on these shows, they meeting somebody and they have one night stands and but that's not the reality of dating. I think as we have as adults with children, and you know, I have a teenager, and it's our responsibility, kids, about dating and about sex, you know, because so we can break this cycle of this Netflix and chill. Because I mean, I used to work for the Attorney General 18 and a half years. And I'm gonna tell you what sex to get you. It'll get you 18 years of child support.
Baby.
You know what I mean?
Getting that check deducted. Okay.
And I tell these men out here, keep your dick in your pocket. Because if you don't, then you got to come see me. And I'm garnishing your wages. You know what I'm saying? You miss a payment.
And that's what I'm saying. This sex and dating brings so many problems. Like, and to me, it backs at women. When women have already went through something emotional, all it does is pushes them back further because they already been hurt by one person. Then they get into something else thinking that it's going to work. And
but when you're a young adult, you're thinking it's going to work and you having sex at an early age, 9 times out of 10, that man, that teenager or whoever you're dealing with ain't gonna want to stay with you.
Well, that's happening in the old community.
In the old community,
young people is the one. Honestly, some of these young people are dating better than the old people, to be honest with you. It be these old people who have been in 13 relationships and still doing the relationships the same. They go right back into them the same way they did the other. They go right back into it. And it's like a revolving cycle. But that comes with discipline, and that comes with getting sick or tired of being sick and tired. Like Carrie said, we can all piece together the perfect person in our mind, but the reality is, and that could be true, but then you have to turn and make your reality your own reality. You know what I'm saying? Like my husband, when he came home, it was dudes who had way more than him. You know what I'm saying? He was getting on his feet. We were sharing a car. But it didn't make me want to go talk to somebody else because I saw them, you know, with more money or more this. I didn't go sneaking off, you know, trying to get hooked up or because I just didn't. Because I felt like I got in a situation. I already knew what it was. Let's just move forward with this. Because sometimes I seen, what is that little boy name? NBA Young, but I can't remember. He was one of them little celebrity little rappers, and he said, I don't cheat. And they was all like, what? Well, he was on one of the little podcasts with the guys on there. And he was like, no, you know, hotel and home. He said, I'm not going to lose my home for no hotel. You know what I'm saying? He said, it doesn't make sense to me. And they were shocked because he's so young. I cannot think of the little boy who said it, but that's how I feel. I could go out here in these streets and not because I was in them, didn't get nothing that my husband gave me, was just randomly dating here and there, having sex, doing, you know, hanging around, doing what I wanted to do, but was not getting near as fulfilled as I did when I got with one person. So I can come home, I could go to Midtown, I could see a line of dudes in there, and I'm not attracted to not one of them. None of them can compare to what I know that I got at home. I know I got comfort. I got stability. I ain't got to worry about nothing. I know if I go over here and mess this up, ain't nobody going to come over here and do what my husband do for me.
No.
So why do that? So it's like with the sex and dating, is if you want to reach that end goal, it's like try to set yourself up for it. And back off of the sex a little bit, and then just date and kind of see where it goes.
And when you're dating, I'm gonna tell men and women this: write a list of what type of man you want. Write down a list of what
I
type
agree.
of woman you want. You know, also write down your pet peeves, things that you don't like, things that your nerves. You know what I'm saying? And things that you just are not negotiable. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
If it's a woman that's abusive, if it's a man that is abusive, if it's someone who doesn't handle their business, take care of their business. That's what I'm saying. When you date to get to know these people. Try to, if you can, date them for a period of time before you have sex. Because I mean, let's be realistic. Aaron, people gonna have sex. That's just we're
That's
animals.
just what it is.
It
Absolutely.
is. It is just what it is. What it is. But when you're
Right.
dating these people, and before you make that or put like you call it a body, another body on your belt, a notch on your belt,
Yeah.
try not to ignore these red flags
Hmm.
because after a person get to a certain age, they are who they are.
You ain't
I
changing
mean,
that.
old dog ain't gonna change his. I mean, leopard ain't gonna change his spots. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
When people show you who they are, believe them. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Believe them, and I I just can't express more of getting to know a person um, before you go that route. You know what I'm saying? I just look how they treat their kids, how financially responsible you are. You know what I'm saying? Your priorities. Are you pushing stuff off and just to go do this? And like you said, then when you have sex, it complicates things and you
Hmm.
ignore those red flags. And now that individual may want you to help them with something that they've been putting off. And
Yeah.
that's not your responsibility. But if you would have took the time to date them and got to know them who for it, you wouldn't put yourself in that situation.
I agree. I agree. I agree 100% with that because my whole thing with dating, I think that and I've done it plenty of time. We get them little sweet little words. They say all the stuff that the other person ain't said to you in a long time, or somebody else you was dating didn't say, and you get and you woo each other in, and
Mm-hmm.
you really don't. And when before you know it, I mean, they got red flags coming out of everywhere, and you see them.
Mm-hmm.
You telling your friends about them, you talking about them, but you're also trying to help them correct them at the same time. And you spend, like I said, you spend the majority of the relationship instead of it being a building relationship. You're almost putting bricks on there that they are just taking off every time you put them on. They're taking them off because they really don't want to go nowhere with it. Like you said, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. They just kind of what they say, buying time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And with the dating, I see so many people date for so long, and they will date people for years, and it would never have an ending to it or a marriage come out of it, and then they'll get with somebody for 4 5 months and marry them, and you be in dating them for 10 years, and you're like what happened? Like what if I didn't do that? She's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and half of the time be because they dated them, they didn't give them what they wanted, they wasn't available all the time.
And see, that's the issue. People.
Women are too available. They always stopping what they was doing before they met the man to go do what he want them to do. It's all the time. And I
Because
think that's why they can't get past nothing to get into something that is more substantial and more relevant and healthy to their life because of some of those things that they do
yeah, and basically what you're saying is people want what they can't have. I mean, if you make yourself available
all day,
to
all day.
somebody, then they lead you lose interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People you need time to miss each other. If you always in somebody's face and you always this and that, and it depends on the person. Some people get turned off by that. You know what I'm saying? Some people like to have space. You know what I'm saying? So
So,
uh,
do you think that men, when they meet a woman, they already kind of know if this is somebody that's a long-term date or a short-term date, because I've heard that men already know who they gonna get married to and who they want to be with. And they say that men know that straight off the bat, but they just go along with the go along. If she's the one I can call after the club, if she's the one that's gonna answer that phone when I want, if she's the one gonna come when I want her to come, she's the one I'm gonna call. I don't necessarily want her. I really want this one over here that it really ain't paying me no attention. When I'm calling, she's out. I'm on a girl's trip. I'm gonna hit you back when we get back in the country. Okay, I'm at work. I'm gonna call you back a little later. And then they may chit chat with you for a little bit. All right, it's getting past my bedtime. I'm gonna call you tomorrow. To me, what I've seen, those are the women who get what they want from the men. But them ones that's on that phone and always available, they never get what they want. That ain't a fact, but I have seen it time and time.
I think because the men are hunters that we like to chase. We like to chase. We don't want.
But the women not letting y'all chase. They chasing y'all.
Yeah.
They literally chasing y'all. They blowing y'all phones up. The minute you call, they dropping everything and answering. They not saying, okay, I'm busy. I'll call them back in a little bit. And it's not ignoring you. It's just that right now I don't have the time to talk. Right. But the women it's like the roles have been. The women are doing the more chasing, the more, I call it begging. Because anytime you ain't married to something, I'm going to tell you why I call it begging. Because anytime that you are not in a marriage with a man and you are compromising and negotiating how this relationship should go and you the one doing it, to me, that's begging. That's trying to get him to, it's like putting up a sign saying, I'm a good woman. Please choose me. Like, I'm good. I'm showing you. I'm picking up the phone. I'm giving you sex. I'm buying you gifts. I'm celebrating your birthday. But I'm still not getting what I want in the end. I'm doing all these things for you. I'm giving you my body. My body is the most important thing. It's me. It's my soul. It's my vaginal area is connected to everything. My vaginal area could kill me if something gets in there that ain't supposed to be in there. It could kill my soul, my self-esteem. It could lay me to rest if I get the wrong thing in my body. I'm giving you something that it's my being. It's the most important thing. It's me. And you never give me nothing. I'm not even worthy of a ring. I'm not worthy of a ring. So I think
what are your suggestions? What would you tell these young ladies out here?
I would say date with a purpose. After a few dates, you don't see, like you said, I would know in my head or write down what I want and things I am not compromising on. After coming out of 2 marriages, the number one thing was thoughtfulness. If you were not thoughtful of me, I didn't want you. If you did not show major interest in me and you pursued me, I did not want you. If you could not provide, because those are all the things I bring to the table. I bring all of that. I need to know if I'm getting that in return. This is not going to be a one-way street. My end goal had a purpose. The purpose was for me to get married. I'm not going into it being your girlfriend and see where it's going. I didn't saw where it was going with too many people. That's why I've been divorced twice. You get what I'm saying? That's why I got bodies. Because I was seeing where it was going. I wasn't seeing where it was going no more. When I started talking to Dorian, it was, what are we doing? Are you someone who wants to have a family? Do you want to be married? Because if he didn't, we were not going to be talking.
How soon did you express that to him?
When I met him, I was still in a marriage. But of course, he was not here, right? So we talked about it. I was going through a divorce and we talked about it. And even though I was coming out of divorce, it wasn't that I didn't want to be remarried. I didn't care if I had already been married twice. Anybody who was going to come be with me, end result needed to be us being married. I'm not shacking up with you. We're not intertwining monies. We not doing all of that common law and we ain't really married, but we separating and you can take some of what's in here. We ain't doing none of that. I'm not being your special friend on your program. I'm not doing none of that. Ain't nobody coming and telling me what I'm going to do. And I've been laying in the bed with you without no ring for 10 years. It's not happening. Right. So I already went into it straight up telling him what I wanted. Now, I didn't know if I was going to get it, but he did tell me, yeah, I want to be married. Yeah, I want a family. He comes from a big family. Mm-hmm. So that was his thing. I didn't know if I was going to get it, but I knew that's what I wanted. And if I didn't get those things on that list, I was not going to go forward with it. I just got out of a marriage.
Well, so what was your time? What was your timeline?
Oh, everybody who knows me know 3 years tops. You got to marry me in 3 years. 3 years, bye-bye. You done laid up on me. You didn't. We didn't boss stuff.
You sound like a motherfucker. You done laid up on me.
Yeah, I done took you to the Thanksgiving dinner. You done met my mama, and my mama is very important.
And took a plate home.
You know what I'm saying? My kids that shook your hand. No. We got to figure this out. Mm-hmm. So he already knew going in what I wanted. Mm-hmm. So I've been talking to him since like the end of 2017. So, you know, we kind of and the difference with us was we was not able to be together like that.
Right.
So maybe that's why our relationship did work out. I'm not saying we have a perfect relationship. We literally gets into it about things because he's learning me and I'm learning him because of the way we got together. But we did a lot of talking before we actually even physically touched each other. Mm-hmm. So I knew a lot about him. I'm still learning about him, but he already knew straight out the gate what it was for me. He already knew what I wanted, what my dating with a purpose was. So I think that women should date with a purpose. I think that they will be so much happier.
And so when you say women should date for a purpose, what is the age range in that? Because I think before you date with a purpose, and you know, I see younger people getting married, but sometimes I just don't really agree with that because you haven't really lived life and you haven't really experienced anything yet. So what age would you say a woman should start dating with a purpose?
I think that early on.
How early?
Think that I say maybe 20, 21. And the reason why I say that is because what happens is when you start having sex, because you know they're going to have sex. To me, it's almost like having a bottle of soda and opening it. And then once you open it and you sit it down for a little while, it don't have that first taste. That first taste after you pop that top is good. It's like it go down. You like go, and it tastes real good. After it sits there for a little while, it becomes flat, right? Mm-hmm. And I think when you start having all these bodies, it always make you compare the next person to the next person. That's why people's sex don't be good to the next person. Because this one person may have done you right, baby. He was probably boom, 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 right? And then you get to the next person and he may not be boom, 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 but he got a lot of the great qualities that you want. But you looking for the knockout, which is what you had in the person that didn't do you right. So now you're overlooking the good man who got all these qualities that you done cried to your friend about. Mm-hmm. But he ain't knocking you out. It makes it too complicated. And I know people that I went to high school with. They went to high school. They still married today.
Oh yeah,
they got kids. And yes, it's people who went to school with me in high school. They went together our whole high school years through their college, and they are still married today. So I think it just depends on the individual. But I think when you get too many bodies under your belt, it's some people that go hard in the paint when it comes to the bedroom. Then there's some people who are just real mediocre. So you're going to always be comparing. So if you get you one person, you understand the morals and the values of what relationships and what marriage is, you can eliminate all them other problems. Because you are always going to compare each person you go. You could think of all the women that you have dated or slept with. And I bet you out of 2 or 3 of them, 2 of them was better than the other one, or the other one, or somebody did something that somebody didn't do. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you like, oh man, I wish she real nice on this, but I wish she did that. She did that a little longer, or she did this a little more.
That's when the communication come in.
Yeah, but what if she just don't have those skills? Some people got skills.
You
Some
can,
people don't have those
you
skills
can,
because they not.
if you got the patience, you can tell a person, show them this is what I like.
Yeah, but how many people gonna be that patient? Baby, they trying to like, girl, get with the program in their head. Yeah, you communicate, but you like, and I do think that could happen if you really love somebody and you are the purpose is to the end goal is to get married to them, and you are looking in that direction with them. You can teach them some things, but you always gonna be thinking of that other girl in the back of your head. Like, man, be over there talking to your homeboys, talking about, man, shoot, such and such. Man, come on, quit playing. You already know the guy.
So how important do you think sex should be in dating? On a scale of 1 to 10.
I say maybe a 5.
A 5.
It should be halfway, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it should be halfway.
Honestly, if the other things can't go right, then shoot. Sometimes you get turned off. Sex just,
Yeah, I agree.
But yes, I think it's very.
That's what having too many bodies does. Unless you just you mature up a little bit in that area, and then you realize that it is so many other things to a relationship that can bring happiness, that can bring fulfillment. And you have to look at those things. I think a lot of times we get in these relationships after the dating process, and you go forward, you look at these things and it's like, okay, what else does this person bring to me that makes me happy? When I just think of her during the day, like I come home and the house smells good and it's clean, and she got my food, and she knew I was in the driveway when she turned on the shower for me, got me a warm towel out the dryer. You start to do other things that make somebody look at you in a more sexual, non-contact type of way. You know what I mean? Like, I know my husband.
It's the foreplay before.
Yes, it's the foreplay, and that comes after the dating and sex. But those.
But you gotta somebody. And to piggyback off what you just said, look, me personally, yeah, I want to come home to a clean house or whatever, but I want to come in home, smell something cooking. I don't want to necessarily smell no Fabuloso or Panza. I want to smell some chicken fried or something.
Right.
Yeah, because the way to a man's heart is through his stomach too. But I'm just joking.
So yeah, I mean, I think that to each his own. People are gonna date how they want to date. But I do think dating before sex is important. I think it will stop a lot of the misconceptions of what people think in their head of what they have imagined that could be with somebody. And I think that if the man and the woman are straight up, that it will maybe stop some stuff. People be like, okay, well, he ain't ready for this, so maybe I'll move on and I'll finish dating. And I think people should date multiple people. I don't think you should date one person, honestly. I think that you should be able to date who you want to date without sex. See who fits best for you. You shouldn't focus your attention on one person just that. You see who date, you see who's good, and who fits with more of what you're looking for. And then maybe you eliminate everybody else if you see that he's on the same page and y'all agree to move forward. But just dating one person, it complicates things. Sex is going to get involved. Sex is going to complicate it. You're going to look up. You're going to spend the majority of the relationship trying to build to bear this person, or, he's going to become your project and you're going to work on this project forever. And then you still don't ever get what you want. So, so I just encourage women and men just today, see what a person is like. You know what I mean? You don't want to break nobody's heart, and don't nobody want to get their heart broken. So,
And then let's talk about the dating part. I know sex is, the people gonna do what they do. Let's talk about the dating part real quick. I think when it comes to dating, I think people need to be, we need to be a little bit more creative. There's a lot of different things you can do to
Mm-hmm.
get to know people, and you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money. Some
Mm-hmm.
people assume that dating is going to Papados or
Yeah.
going out to eat or something. But there's other things you can do. You can go to the gun range, you know, um,
Yeah.
and shoot things. You can, play one-on-one basketball,
Yeah.
or go to church. I think one thing that's missing in a lot of this dating is that we're getting to a age is that we're leaving God out of our dating.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you're not married, that God should be the head of even when you're married, just be
Mm-hmm.
the head of your household. You have to put God in your life. I know we hadn't been talking about that, but I think for me to date someone, I want to date somebody that who has uh, some sort of relationship with and believe in those things. And I really feel like if when you put God into your dating and you study the word and see what exactly how to date and finding somebody that's evenly yoked with you, I think it will kind of streamline and eliminate some of those other people, especially if they don't believe what you believe.
Right.
And so I know we're short on time, but I just think we just need to include God in our dating.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Mhm.
Um, I think that if if people did more of that, they could. And I just think that sometimes people need to get with themselves and just really do some deep thinking. What have hurt me in the past? What did I do? What do I need to do different this time that I didn't do when I dated somebody in the past? Maybe changing up the way they date. And if you meet somebody and they're not willing to date the way you want to without the sex, then maybe we shouldn't date. Maybe that's all they want if they can't date you without that. So I think that you
And
know,
yeah, and when it comes to dating too, and you say like you've had a bad experience in dating someone, and then before you get into a new situation, I think you need to take time to get to know yourself and get to know what you really like and what you really want. Also, unpack that baggage that you have from a previous relationship because whatever happened to you previously, it was not my fault.
yeah.
So don't take that out on me. So
Hmm.
I think you need to take the time to for yourself and unpack that baggage. And
Hmm.
so you won't have or feel like, well, such and such used to do that to me. And well, I'm not such and such. And
Right.
this is not the same exact situation, you
Right.
know. And then
Yeah.
when you mix that with sex, it just
Hmm.
complicates everything.
Complicates things. Yeah. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. Well, I think tonight was a good topic. I think we covered a lot of points, and hopefully the audience got something good out of, the dialogue between us two tonight. I was reading the comments, and you know, people were saying some good things, giving your mind and your heart deal breakers. Them different dates going to show you how the person you're dealing with is going to show you what kind of mental state they have in different situations.
Exactly.
I believe that sex is the most important part of relationships and marriage. I think that could vary from person to person. For me and my marriage, I don't think it's the most important.
Mhm.
Um, you know, um, I think a lot of these, you know, comments were great. I think that I think this was good, Aaron. I think that we covered a lot. And we could talk about this all day. We could do
Exactly.
like a part two on dating and sex. But guys, if you do date, Just do it safely if you're gonna have sex, and just understand the consequences that come with dating and sex. You may not get what you want, which may push you back into a bad mental state that you had coming out of a past bad relationship. So take all those things into consideration if you're trying to heal and move forward into something that is more healthier and more great, so you won't bring in the baggage from your past relationships. So
Yeah, and I think just to be responsible.
yeah.
Be
Hmm.
responsible. Be responsible for if this is this is not what you want from the beginning. You just got to be responsible for yourself and other people's feelings. If you're just doing it for a selfish act or you just trying to get your rocks off, I mean, let that be known in the beginning. Put that in the other person. Put that ball in the other person's court and let them decide as whether or not if they want to do it or not. You know, it's just communication. So just be responsible
Yeah, I
and get
agree
to
with
know a
that.
person because you might not even like them.
That's true. That's true. So, y'all, we're gonna bring this show to an end tonight. We thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate all the feedback. We appreciate you guys tuning in to Relock Podcast. We come on every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook Live. Um, Guys, make sure you share. Go subscribe to our YouTube page, Relock Podcast. You guys have a good night. We love you all. Thank you so much for joining in and having conversation with us tonight. We will see you guys later, and you have a great night. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, and we see y'all next Tuesday.